Hi, welcome to Gloomy Recaps. The story begins with a girl named Sarah, who's on the chubby side, helping her parents run their meat shop. While she's busy working, her eyes wander outside and she spots some of her schoolmates hanging out together. But they're not just any friends, they're the ones who always pick on Sarah because of her weight. There's Rosie, Maca, Claudia, and a guy named Pedro. Claudia used to be Sarah's best friend, but now she's chosen to stick with Rosie and Maca's crew. That day, Claudia asked Rosie to swing by Sarah's shop to grab some meat her mom had ordered. Instead, Rosie secretly snapped a photo of Sarah with her family in the shop, then showed it to the others while laughing. And she didn't stop there. Rosie even posted the picture on social media with a nasty caption, "Pig family." Sarah was crushed by it, but she couldn't do anything to fight back. During lunch with her family, Sarah's mom noticed that she kept zoning out. Her mom told her to go outside for some fresh air to clear her head. After finishing her meal, Sarah decided to take a walk and accidentally spotted her bullies having fun near a waterfall. Not wanting to run into them, she chose to head to another swimming pool, hoping it would be quiet and that no one would recognize her. When she arrived, the place was almost empty, which made Sarah feel relieved and excited to swim. She changed into her swimsuit and was about to dive in when suddenly a stranger appeared from under the water, ruining her hope of enjoying the pool alone. Things got worse when her bullies showed up and immediately started mocking her appearance. Meanwhile, the stranger just stood there watching without saying a word, before eventually leaving. Not wanting to hear their cruel taunts, Sarah quickly dove into the pool, swimming away from them as deep and as long as she could. Claudia tried to convince Rosie and Maca to leave, but instead they got even more fired up to humiliate Sarah. In her attempt to escape, Sarah accidentally swam past the body of a man who had died and was tied at the bottom of the pool. It didn't end there. Rosie and Maca cruelly took Sarah's clothes and belongings, forcing her to go home wearing only her swimsuit. On her way back, things got even worse when a group of random guys started mocking and laughing at her in the street. After humiliating her, they left her alone. Feeling ashamed and scared it might happen again, Sarah decided to take a small path surrounded by bushes and thick trees. As Sarah walked down the quiet road, she noticed a van parked on the side. It looked familiar. She realized it was the same van she had seen earlier at the pool. Just as she passed by, Maca suddenly appeared from behind the van, injured. Then the van pulled forward, blocking Sarah's path. It turned out to belong to the stranger she had met at the pool. Inside, he had kidnapped her bullies, Maca, Rosie, and Claudia, all placed in the back of the van. Strangely, the man didn't hurt Sarah at all. Instead, he handed her a towel to cover herself since she was still only in her swimsuit. Sarah, overwhelmed and terrified by everything she had just witnessed, froze, and in her panic, she accidentally wet herself. Shaking, she grabbed the towel and rushed home, ignoring everything else that had just happened. When she got home, Sarah was torn about whether she should report what she had seen to the police. But in the end, Sarah decided not to report what she saw to the police after seeing her bullies' posts that kept insulting her on social media. The next day, while helping out at the meat shop, Sarah noticed Pedro, Claudia's boyfriend, outside the store looking for Claudia. Not long after, her father asked her to go buy a lamp because the shop's lights had gone out. At the hardware store, Sarah quickly picked out the lamp they needed. While shopping, she glanced at the friendship bracelet on her wrist, a keepsake from when she and Claudia were still close. But out of fear that the bracelet might drag her into trouble over Claudia's disappearance, Sarah decided to take it off and throw it away in the store. Unbeknownst to her, the same stranger, the one who had kidnapped Claudia and the others, had been following her all along and picked up the bracelet she had just discarded. On her way back home, Sarah saw a group of women gathered, talking about a body that had been found at the pool. Hearing this, her mother urged Sarah to go to the site with her, wanting to find out what had really happened, especially since Sarah had just been at that pool the day before. When they got there, the place was already crowded with locals and police officers evacuating the victim. The pool guard was suspected to be the victim after having gone missing since the day before. One of the officers who had seen Sarah walking home from the pool calmly asked her some questions so she wouldn't feel pressured. But because of her deep grudge against Claudia and the others who always bullied her, Sarah decided to lie. She told the police that she hadn't gone to the pool yesterday, but to the river instead. She did this because she didn't want to deal with Claudia and her friends again, who always mocked her by calling her pig whenever they saw her at the pool. Seeing Sarah's unstable emotions, her mother quickly took her home. At home, her mother, who had just found out that Sarah had been bullied all this time, brought healthy food like fruits and vegetables. She hoped Sarah's body would become more ideal so people would stop making fun of her. But in the middle of all this, Claudia's mother came by, asking about her daughter who hadn't come home. Feeling hurt by how Claudia and her friends had humiliated Sarah, Sarah's mother ended up kicking Claudia's mother out.
Mi hija no hace bullying a nadie.
¡Hombre! ¡Fuera ya, coño!
Ya me voy yo sola.
That night, unable to sleep, Sarah suddenly noticed her favorite snack placed near the window. Realizing it had been left there by the same stranger who had been following her, she quickly grabbed the snack, shut the window tight, and ate it. Afterward, her thoughts went back to her missing phone, which she last saw when Claudia and her gang took her backpack at the pool. Secretly, she borrowed her father's phone to try calling her own number and track it down. Determined, Sarah went to the small path where she had last seen Claudia and the others before they disappeared with the stranger. Once she got there, Sarah immediately used her dad's phone to call her own. Sure enough, she heard the ringtone. Curious, she followed the sound until she finally found her phone along with the other belongings her bullies had taken from her the day before. Suddenly, the stranger appeared in front of her, just as the sound of a vehicle approached. He quickly urged Sarah to hide behind the bushes with him, watching to see who was coming. It turned out to be the parents of Claudia, Macca, and Rosie. They were searching for their daughters, using the last known location of their phones as a guide. Meanwhile, in their hiding spot, a strange sense of warmth began to grow between Sarah and the stranger. To make sure Sarah could get home safely, the man deliberately distracted the searchers.
Claudia?
When she finally got home, Sarah was exhausted and went straight to bed. But later that night, she woke up to someone calling her name. To her surprise, the unexpected visitor was Pedro, who was looking for information about Claudia's whereabouts. Pedro revealed that he knew Sarah had actually gone to the pool when Claudia and her friends disappeared. He explained that Claudia had sent him a video before vanishing, showing Sarah being bullied at the pool by Claudia and her gang. Pedro then asked Sarah why she had lied to the police, saying she was at the river instead of the pool. Hearing this, Sarah, who had long carried deep resentment toward Claudia and her friends, refused to reveal the truth. Instead, she poured out all her feelings to Pedro, telling him about the emotional scars left by Claudia, Macca, and Rosie, who had treated her cruelly time and time again. Pedro felt guilty and apologized to Sarah, trying his best to comfort her. Elsewhere, Sarah's mother was hanging laundry when she accidentally noticed Claudia's towel among Sarah's clothes. She was shocked to see bloodstains on it. Later, when Pedro was walking Sarah home, they were confronted by Claudia's mother, who immediately accused Sarah of hiding something about Claudia's disappearance. Hearing this accusation, Sarah's mother stepped in to defend her daughter, leading to a heated argument between the two mothers. The fight only stopped when the police arrived and took both families to the station for further questioning. There, Sarah was interrogated again, but this time she only shared part of the tragic events. She explained how Claudia and her gang had nearly drowned her at the pool, without revealing what happened afterward. Seeing her daughter so distressed and treated like a suspect, Sarah's mother finally ended the interrogation and decided to take her home.
Basta. Nos vamos. Sé perfectamente que mi hija no tiene por qué decir nada.
Esto no ha terminado, compañero.
Meanwhile, the stranger had already broken into Sarah's room and stolen her underwear. When he tried to leave the house, Sarah's father caught him. The stranger then attacked Sarah's dad, knocking him unconscious. When she got home, her mother showed her the towel Sarah had brought earlier. On it was the name Claudia along with suspicious bloodstains. She demanded an explanation from Sarah. Cornered by her mother's questions, Sarah suddenly broke down, crying hysterically and shouting that she hated her bullies and wished they were all dead. The tension peaked when her mother raised her hand to slap her, but suddenly the stranger appeared, grabbed her mother's hand and attacked her. After that, the stranger took Sarah away. Outside, they ran into a group of teens who mocked them as they passed. The man then drove his car straight toward the crowd to teach them a lesson. Afterward, he took Sarah to his hideout. But on the way, he accidentally hit a wild bull crossing the road. The crash knocked Sarah unconscious, while the stranger, still awake, carried her the rest of the way. The hideout turned out to be an abandoned, run-down warehouse in a remote village. When Sarah regained consciousness, the stranger was nowhere to be found. She decided to look for him by exploring the warehouse. Unexpectedly, she discovered Claudia and Rosie still alive, though their hands and feet were tied. Shocked by what she saw, Sarah tried hard to untie them, but her efforts failed. Claudia then urged her to call the police. Strangely, even in such a dire situation, Claudia and Rosie still mocked Sarah, calling her stupid. Not long after, footsteps echoed closer, making Sarah quickly hide. It was the stranger, realizing the captives had moved. His rage boiled over as he started searching for Sarah. Meanwhile, Rosie kept screaming, which only fueled his anger until he finally stabbed Rosie with a knife. Terrified, Sarah tried to find a way out, but the stranger kept chasing her. In her panic, she stumbled upon Macca's corpse, brutally killed. Frozen with fear, she was caught by the stranger. But unexpectedly, he didn't try to hurt her. Instead, he hugged Sarah, attempting to calm her down as she cried hysterically. The man then urged Sarah to take revenge on her bullies. Together, they confronted Claudia and Rosie. Yet even with her anger, Sarah still felt compassion. She chose to fight back against the stranger. A violent struggle broke out, ending with the man firing a shot that hit Claudia's hand. In the end, Sarah managed to kill the stranger, saving Macca and Claudia. When everything was finally over, Sarah walked home alone, her steps heavy. Her body was covered in blood, exhausted and shaken. On the way, she unexpectedly ran into Pedro. Completely drained, Sarah asked him to help her get home. That's the plot of this film. I hope you enjoyed it and see you in the next video.